Hey, what is happening, guys? Rules for Rebels. It is February 24th, 2017, Friday, gearing up for the weekend here. Bitcoin price right now is sitting at $1,192.56. The other day, we were pretty close to touching an all-time high. I think on a couple marketplaces who have really big spreads, it actually crossed the all-time high. But as you can see here, we were up within the last 24 hours, up as high as $1,205. We dropped down to 1124, and things are picking back up. So why is Bitcoin price going up? I'll be completely honest. I kind of trade more on kind of mass psychology. When everybody's running scared is when I'm buying in. When everybody's rah Bitcoin is when I'm getting out. But basically, we had that news a couple weeks ago about Chinese government was halting Bitcoin withdrawals, was investigating Bitcoin exchanges for money laundering, etc. Bitcoin tanked. I picked some up on the discount. It rose back up. So anytime everybody's freaking out and, oh my gosh, the world's going to end, I'm going to lose all this money on Bitcoin, that's when you want to be buying. That's not when you want to be selling. Things always seem to pick back up. I do get kind of uncomfortable buying in at these high prices. I think my highest purchase to date was like 980. I had made a purchase at 812. I thought that was high. I made another purchase at like 818. I thought that was high. At these prices, I'm kind of scared to buy in for the long term, but I am swing trading, so I'll tell you guys kind of what my new strategy is. So let's say Bitcoin was at 1205. I would sell off some Bitcoin. Bitcoin falls down to 1124. I would buy up. My account has a $2,500 limit on it on Coinbase. So basically what I do, I will buy in my $2,500 max, and then, I feel like I have as many coins as I need for the long term. But I still like to make money swing trading. So when it falls to 1124, I buy it. When I see a rise, let's see it comes back up to 1199. What I would do, rather than selling everything, I'm going to sell $2,500 worth. That way I get back my initial investment. What is that, 11, we'll say 2,000 minus the, $76 per coin in profit just stays in the form of Bitcoins in my Coinbase account. If this were to drop again, what do? I buy $2,500 worth of Bitcoins. If it rises up to $1,300, I sell $2,500 worth of Bitcoins. I profit the $300, or whatever it is that I make it profit on that rise. By selling off that 2,500. I let the rest of it ride in Bitcoin. So I'm sitting on a good amount of Bitcoins right now. I'm not sure what's going to happen. Could we fall back down to 900? I mean, sure, anything could happen. So buy in cautiously. If you guys remember, when I made my first Bitcoin video, and I don't like advising people to buy Bitcoins because it's sort of like recommending a stock to somebody. If I tell a buddy of mine, hey, you should go buy Facebook stock, if it goes up, there's really no reward in it for me, right? He's not going to be like, oh, thank you so much for that stock tip. Here's $1,000. So there's no reward. But if the stock does poorly, he's, I'm sure going to hear about it. What the fuck's wrong with you, man? You told me to buy this. I just lost $1,100. So there's really no benefit to giving people financial advice, investment advice, anything like that. But I'll tell you guys what I'm doing. And if I'm putting my money where my mouth is, you can choose to follow me or choose to not follow me. But when I made my first Bitcoin video back in June, Bitcoin was sitting at about $550. I think then we had that overnight crash where it went to 487. So anybody who listened to me back then has more than doubled their money pretty much all along the way. I've been fairly accurate in my predictions. And like I said, I don't really watch candle charts. I don't have some sophisticated way of tracking what Bitcoins are going. I pretty much just I feel like I have a good understanding of mass psychology. Obviously, buy low, sell high, like Warren Buffett's rule. When everybody's running for the hills is when you want to be buying. When everybody's greedy is when you want to be selling out. We do have an important date coming up. March 11th is the date that the Winklevoss twins, if you remember, they're the guys who were suing Mark Zuckerberg saying he stole Facebook from them. They've had a Bitcoin ETF in the works for, I don't know what, the past 3 years or so. March 11th is the date that the SEC actually has to give them a yes or no answer for yes, they can, roll it out, or no, they can't. If they do wind up being able to roll it out, what that means is that I may be a little bit off on my figures, but right now there's, we'll say $20 million worth of new money coming into Bitcoin every week. If that ETF goes through, the amount of new money coming into Bitcoin every week is going to go from like 20 million a week to probably over 300 million a week. The laws of supply and demand, I would think that's going to drive the prices up. And a lot of people are predicting that we're going to see Bitcoin go as high as 1,500, possibly even $3,000 per coin if that ETF is approved. I think general consensus, or most people seem to be saying, there's only about a 35% chance that it will be approved. I have heard some people say if it's not approved, Bitcoin's going to fall back down to like $590. I wouldn't be shocked if Bitcoin does pull back a little bit, but I think the idea that it's not going to be approved is already kind of priced in because there's only a 30% chance. Most people are anticipating it's not going to be approved, so it's not going to be like this landslide when it's not approved if it doesn't happen because nobody was really expecting it in the first place. If it does get approved, however, I think we are going to see Bitcoin shoot up at least a couple $100, possibly up to like 3 grand. When we hit that point, I'll have to make a decision. Do I sell off some coins or just let it ride? I'll probably sell some off, take some profits at those high levels. I imagine we'd see a little bit of a pullback just because I think a lot of people are going to have that mentality and take profits. So I'd probably sell some off, take some profits, wait for a pullback, and then buy back in. But yeah, I mean, we are hit. I think we've already hit an all-time high. I'll have to check what that all-time high was back in, was that '09 or whenever that was. But yeah, Bitcoins are at historic levels. We're really high. I don't know, just curious to hear from you guys. Are you guys invested in Bitcoins? Do you use Bitcoins on a daily basis? What's your thoughts on Bitcoins? Did you start buying back in June when I started talking about Bitcoins? If so, how's your account doing? How much money have you made? Any other news you guys had? Like I said, I don't follow this stuff too closely. I mean, like I said, I kind of trade on understanding mass psychology. I don't really follow all the ins and outs in the news. I mean, from things I hear, Chinese investment in Bitcoins is kind of slowing down, but Japan's really picking up. I think Japan may have surpassed Bitcoins in the amount of Bitcoins that are being bought. But yeah, that's my Bitcoin update, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If any of you guys have not gotten in, I might suggest that you hold off. I'm just my attitude from the very start when I made my first Bitcoin update video was this. It was, I feel like Bitcoin is always going to be worth more than $550. So anytime I can buy it at $550 or less, I'm comfortable and confident. Once we start getting up to these crazy levels, I mean, if you bought Bitcoin back in '09 and paid $1,200 and then it, dove down to 800 and then 600 and then 300, you would be back even right now, but you've also been sitting on those Bitcoins for the past, 5 years or whatever it is, waiting for the price to come back. So as a newbie entering Bitcoin, I might be a little bit uncomfortable buying in at these levels. I do still have an automatic debit set up. Every week I buy $25 worth of Bitcoins. I know it's not a lot, but over time it's going to add up to something decent. And by doing it every week, I'm catching the highs and the lows. So kind of, cost averaging the price that I'm in at. But I also, anytime Bitcoin dips and I can get it cheap, I'll max out my Coinbase account and a couple other accounts and buy $2,500 worth or whatever else. So that's a Bitcoin update for today. I'm curious to hear how your guys' Bitcoin holdings are going. If you guys keep closer tabs on the news, if you have any predictions, drop it in the comment section below. Thanks for watching, guys. Catch you on the next video and hope you all have a good weekend.